Hey, it's Pick Apart. Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel. We've got a 2007 120 Prado or Toyota Land Cruiser LC 120, and we've got a few issues here we want to point out. There's a whole heap of mistakes other people that have worked on the vehicle have made, and we called it Pick Apart because of all the wrong bolts. On the left we have the record-breaking, title-holding pile of bolts that came off one job that was wrong. Can you just have a look at this? I mean, when I say wrong, I've said this before in other posts and videos. This one was out of the valve cover. It wasn't wrong, but see how they couldn't get it started, so they've a bit of a chamfer on the end there. What a bunch of fools, right? That was the only bolt that I think was right or in its right place. Most of these bolts don't even belong under the bonnet of a you know, some of the bolts. It's just so that's the record holder right there from years ago. That was probably from I'm going to go and take a guess, about 5-6 years ago. That's the record holder. Now we've had a few since then with the odd wrong bolt. This vehicle so far, we've got 5 bolts that don't even belong on this vehicle. That is not, well, maybe on the vehicle, but I don't think so. I can't think of it. Just maybe another one. That belongs on the vehicle, just in the wrong spot though. Yeah, that'll be the one that goes on the top of the wiring loom probably. So this is what we're going to do, right? That, maybe. Look, these are all came out of the wrong spot, and for example, that one doesn't belong. That one, well, you could probably, it is a Toyota bolt, but you know, we'll work it out. Same as that one. So most of these, that's definitely not a Toyota bolt, that one there. But most of these we're going to put back in the right spot. So look, they've come out of the wrong spots, nowhere near it, and there's at least 2 out of 6 so far that are in the wrong spot. So we're going to, that's why it's called Pick Apart. So we take all these bolts out, we put it in a pile like that, and then we'll select the right ones as we put it back together, putting them back in the right place. That's how we roll. Right, so there's 2 of us on this, and I'm just going to point out quickly a couple of the other small issues we've seen. And there's a whole heap of wires hanging down here behind the intercooler. You can see already this one kind of looks like it's been a bit squashed and melted. You really need to make sure all your wires are secured properly, at least up the top here with some zip ties and corrugated split tubing over everything. You can see the catch can. We're going to get rid of that. We're not going to talk about catch cans here. If you want to know about catch cans, check out our playlist called Catch Can. With this one, luckily the pipe's still here, that's good. So we just need to remove all these clamps and garbage out of the way here and just insert the piece of rubber elbow that just goes from there to there. It's just one piece of rubber elbow worth about 10 bucks. There's no clamps that go on it because it's not a precious situation. I don't know why they have all this. What a mess, you know what I mean? What a waste. Now, why are we getting rid of the catch can? Just briefly, they can block up and cause problems, and of course, by routing it all the way over there and back and adding a filter, it's going to reduce the effectiveness of allowing the engine to breathe the ventilation system, which is what this is. Inside the valve cover, there's a filter system that, it's kind of like a catch can anyway, that stops most of the oil coming out. You know, you can get some oil, obviously, you will get some oil, but I'd rather it going through the intake because it's not designed to, but it helps lubricate the intake, the valves, the valve seats, that sort of thing, right? So this one, the other problem we've found already is somebody has put a plate in, but guess what? There's no plate. We had a look, so we're not putting a plate in because there's already a plate in there, but there's no plate, you know, upside down, round, back to front in there. There's no plate down there where that's where it's meant to go, you know, between the pipe and the head. Everybody knows that. There's not one there, but you know, the mechanic, it's not the mechanic that put the plate in that's telling you, is it? That's no, a reputable diesel place put the plate in there. We're not going to name anywhere, you know, around Bayswater starting with R because we're not here to bag anyone out, right? But you know, whatever diesel specialist, and they put the plate in, they've got NFI, right? I'll just show you, right? You can see the gap there at the bottom of the, have a look at this, right? That is not where it goes. Look at that. I wonder why there's leaking there. So you got to be careful what diesel specialist you go to because that's what you get. I'll just quickly, you know, it's not what this video is about. This video is a general pick apart video. We're going to run through a few different problems as we go. I'm not going to waste too much time on it. That plate, if you're going to put one in, because it's got oil on it, it could block up there, right? Because all the soot is coming through the exhaust gases to there, and the oil and the soot mix. So you're going to get a P0400 if you have a plate there. This is part of the problem. The plate, if you put it down this end, there's no oil there because the oil is in the intake here, right? Okay, so the restriction would then be down here, allowing, well, it's going to reduce the flow from there, but this is all going to be dry, right? And what get, you know, it can, I'm not saying it can't block up standard, but you don't want to make the hole at that end of the cooler smaller because it does block up a bit already. You make it smaller, it's going to block up. You're going to end up with a P0400. So anyway, we're going to continue. We're going to get this covered. There's a whole heap of clips. You can see this one was missing as usual. They didn't insert any zip tie or anything. This one wasn't clipped in. The bolt at the back of the cover there was missing. The one in the middle was one of the wrong ones. Anyway, we're going to put it back to as per factory as much as possible with the bolts we've got in stock, and by using our expertise, because we know where the right bolts go, if you know what I mean. Now, when you take these covers off, guys, sometimes they come off. We're working on a hot engine, by the way, but sometimes they come off, and sometimes the foam sticks behind, it stays behind there like that, and you just take it off separately, place it back in. This is a cover over the valve cover. You only have this to deal with if you're on a Prado. The Hiluxes don't have it. That's probably why they're a bit noisier. Anyway, we'll come back to you soon with some more information. So you can see we've got the plate out, and the hole looks smaller than usual, but it may not be. But you can see what I'm talking about, it blocking up. We'll get in there and have a close look. You can see the build up there. This is what I've explained in previous videos. Like I said, check out the Egr information list, the playlist, in our playlists, okay? 4x4 diesel, YouTube, playlists, check out all those subjects. Egr information, right? You can see a build up there, it's sitting around about 2 to 3 millimeters high, and it's made the hole a bit smaller. If you put the plate in underneath the Egr valve, it's going to slowly block up. You're going to have less flow yet again, and then it's going to be too much less flow, and you're going to get the P0400. Besides having leaks, you can see the oil leaking over, you know, around this side over here. You can see all the mess on the vehicle. It's not designed to go there. It's not going to seal up properly there. So yeah, obviously the client will decide where, if, when he wants to put it in. I'd suggest cleaning this up, re-drill the hole to 7mm, make sure it's a 7mm, nice and clean. New gasket, given the situation of someone's been in there butchering things. That's what the new gaskets are for. It's for when someone's upset things. Now, whenever you take your Egr valve off, you can replace the upside down one that goes under the Egr valve with the 4 clips on it. But where the plate goes in, generally when you pull the Egr cooler back, the gasket will be stuck to the head, and people just put the plate straight over the top of that. No extra gasket, no need to upset anything, and it doesn't leak. Just be careful you don't over tighten these 2 bolts as well, because people do that and they snap them off. They're just 6mm. I think the torque spec's 13mm. We just use a quarter drive by hand, never had a problem. We've still got the wires hanging around here, but you can see catch can gone. Now, let me just briefly go into that a little bit. We're not here to talk about catch cans too much, but really simply, as you can see, the design of the system is engines run on air and fuel, but mainly air. Air's what goes through them. What's air got in it, especially on a day like today? Moisture, humidity, moisture in the air. So it goes into the engine, combustion happens, and a certain amount of it blows past it ends up in your crankcase, which is, just think it, let's keep it simple, it's inside your engine. See this thing here, this big thing here, from there to the bottom, that's the engine. But what happens, like in your tent, condensation, it comes up to the top and you end up with moisture. There's also some gases in there that's better to get rid of, and that's what this is for. It's right at the top. There's like a filter system in there so you don't end up with a lot of oil coming out, and it goes straight down there into the intake, into your exhaust, and it gets burnt off basically. There's that little of it, it's not funny. Where does it come from? It comes from your sump. Yes, your 7 litres of oil in the sump, that's where it comes from. So if you do an oil change every 10,000 and you've still got about 7 litres, whatever you've lost, that's where some of it or most of it's gone. That's where it's coming from, just to explain that quickly. By adding any sort of restriction in between those 2 pipes, other than a rubber hose, what's meant to be there, can reduce the effectiveness of allowing that system to breathe. It's like restricting it. It's like having a shower without turning the fan on, okay? It's just not going to breathe as well once you've got a filter there that's restricting it. It's caked up in oil, maybe the catch can's full, whatever happens. You know, if you've got other problems, you might have more oil in. It depends what oil you're using, what sort of driving, and all this sort of, there's a whole heap of variables. But it can reduce the effectiveness, which leaves inside your engine not so clean, and the whole reason they put it there in the first place not working, okay? So catch cans can cause problems, and it's already explained that, you know, the oil, that small amount of oil, you know, what are we talking about, 200 or 300 mil in 10,000 Ks? That small amount of oil is barely enough. It's enough to give a corrosion prevention coating, and it accumulates at joins. It might look like a lot, but it's not really. So anyway, like I said, this one's not about catch cans. It's your choice, whatever you want to do, each to their own, but I'm just trying to explain, understand that the real problem is the exhaust gas recirculation, all the black soot from your dirty old injectors and probably your non-Toyota fuel injection system pumping out all this smoke, all right? Keep it fresh, keep it running clean. You're going to have less EGR, less soot in your EGR if you've got clean running fresh injectors, clean filters, clean sensors, and everything running in peak condition, which is what we're working on right here, getting it back to, bringing it back from the wreckers, and you know, getting it back to how it was designed to be. So far, this is the bolts that have come off the vehicle that, all right, look, there's a few others that were in the wrong spot, but you know, just to give you an idea, we've got a bit of the record holder versus this one happening. So we're getting into this injector job, and I suppose before we go too far, we've just sort of taken the valve cover off, whatever. You're probably curious as to if it had a catch can and a plate, even though the plate was in the wrong hole, we can have a look in the wrong hole, yeah. The plate was in the wrong hole. The plate was at the wrong place, near the, yeah, kind of the wrong hole, because there's a hole down here, 26 mil, and there's a hole up that end of the bottom of the EGR valve that's smaller. So it was at the smaller hole. It needs to be at the first hole, if you like. But who's really dying to see what it looks like on the EGR valve with both in place? Now, these results do vary a lot. So don't say because you've seen one, you've seen them all. You've seen a lot if you've been watching all the videos that we've shown you. We know heaps of people with a plate with no catch can, and you know in here stays really clean, alloy in colour. This one's got the plate in the wrong spot, causing all this mess and everything. But it's also had the catch can. See, catch can gone now. Look, catch can was over here, gone. Hose is gone. Oh, look at those wires that aren't hanging there anymore. So we just gave those a quick tidy up, got those out of the way. We're not rewiring the whole vehicle. We probably could have done a bit better, but we did pretty good because there's zip ties holding it neatly out of the way. It's not going to rub on any hot pipes, intercooler, heater pipes or anything like that. But we didn't get rid of all the old zip ties and redo the whole thing. We just did the best we could with what we had to, you know, to work with. Let's have a look, right? So, I don't know about your opinion, but my opinion is it's not quite as clean as having the plate without the catch can. But it's not bad. There's no build up there. You've got a bit of mess down the back there. It's not a thick build up though. So what we want is more of the oil. You can see it's wet anyway, see? So the catch can doesn't stop enough oil to stop the soot sticking anyway. What's working here is the plate, not the catch can, right? So when you have a catch can and it doesn't work, remember, it's got a catch can taking all the oil out. The oil that's in there, under the valve cover, going up, and then out that pipe over there, back around, right, into the intake one way or another, right? Long story short, depending which way intercooler you've got, look, you can see how wet it is. So even though the catch can was taking oil out, it wasn't taking enough that it did its job right, because we can all agree that it's oil in there, yeah? If there was no oil, then that wouldn't have anything stuck on it. I can tell you, if the plate wasn't there, there'd be more EGR coming through and there'd be more build-up. So in this case, the catch can didn't work really well. But it doesn't mean it's always going to happen, so all the best with yours and your choices. Like each to their own, we just like to show you what's actually happening here. So anyway, we're just preparing the brand new genuine injectors for the job, and just wanted to show you this. Did you notice something? Have a look in the picture there. This is something people worry about. This is the problem. People worry about some things with injectors too much and they don't worry enough about other things. All you need to do is get your injectors from me, and then you know you're going to get brand new, genuine, and the freshest stock available. Now these were all made in June 2021, and the serial numbers are all, they're not like right together, but they're within a few hundred generally, definitely within 1,000. So they're all made pretty much at the same time. But like I said, some people seem to think they're judging whether the injectors are old or new by the colour of the solenoid. You can see here we got purple, purple, grey, grey, right? So I've already checked the serial numbers. So when they manufactured, obviously it all depends who's making the mix as to what you end up with, whether they end up more like this colour or this. So don't worry about the colour of the solenoids. I prefer grey. Right over here, most of the newer ones are generally this colour, but quite often and regularly we do get them this colour as well. So the colour of the solenoid doesn't exactly mean a lot. There's plenty of other things on the injectors that mean something, but that's all talked about in other videos. Check out our injector information playlist. Right, so we're just in checking out the valve clearances, and I just want to point out for anyone that missed it, see all this mess? All that black stuff, that's aftermarket. So that's, you know, it had bent fuel pipes, so the pipes had been off and whatever, usual stuff, you know. It's getting boring, isn't it? I know. The factory is 4 little dobs of grey RTV, one each side of that half moon and one each side of the hump. That's just a big mess. And look how much excess there is inside and out. So we've given it a quick clean, but we're yet to scrape that off. That's part of the job afterwards. See, they've done it over that side as well. Bloody grots, aren't they? Yeah. All right, picker parts coming back together. We've got the brand new injectors in, the pipes are on, the clamps are back. We're fixing up things as we go, just about there. We've got a new piece of rubber there, the genuine real McCoy instead of the catch can, so that's going to work as per the design. We're going to get any amount of oil going through to help lubricate that intake. Now, the other thing I just wanted to point out is don't worry about the angle of the solenoids. What you've got to worry about is the injector alignment. That's in our injector alignment videos, in our injector replacement videos. A lot more detail in the VIP group in those videos. But the back two, I'm just looking at the solenoids now. I've already plugged them on. I probably shouldn't have done that, but you can see, look at the angle. It's massively, this is one of the worst ones I've probably ever seen, where people are going to go, oh my God, look at the angle. It's actually good because it angles back towards the wiring loom, but it doesn't matter what angle the head, the solenoid, the plastic part is. What matters is the injector alignment where the pipes come out. Now those solenoids, they're torqued, okay? So wherever they end up is where they end up. As it turns out, the two grey ones, they came up really square, the heads, right? See those, how square they both look? You have a look at that one. Have a look at that one. And look at this one, mate. It looks ridiculous, 11 o'clock. And this one's about 11:30, or, you know, not that bad, but 11:40, 50, something around there. But this number two, but what I'm saying is don't worry about that, okay? Let's go around the other side and just have a look. What else can we have a look at quickly? Oh, the injector alignment. I'll just show you the injector alignment. So what you've got to know is the important part is having the injectors aligned correctly so that when the nut, see that nut there, goes through, that it's beautiful, and you need to be able to get it started by hand, right? So as long as they're like that, if you've got them pushing, you know, one way or the other and they're hard to get started, then that's a problem. And we've gone through a solution, quick solution. If it's not too bad, you can put a bit of moly coat on the outside of the nut. If it's even 1 millimeter out, you might need to do that. We didn't need to do that on this, so just be careful on your camera angle. You might go, oh look, there's a big gap there. No, there's no big gap there, because if there's a problem, it ain't going to seal. It's just kind of how they are. Anyway, bada bing. I think that's a video. What else can we say in this one? Pick apart. Let's have a look at the leftover nuts and bolts. Since we called it pick apart, we better finish off with just showing. There's not a lot left. We've actually reused a couple of them, like the power steering pump. They've got similar bolts to these with one washer on them. I don't think we're going to use any more of these. This doesn't belong there. This is an aftermarket, like Champion brand type. You know, there's a washer. This is, it might be off a Toyota, but double washer. It's not part of this job. Neither is that one. This one might get used actually. That one, that could be like the E-jar, one of the E-jar bolts. So we might be short of a bolt somewhere else. So we might have to find one out of somewhere. This one definitely not off this vehicle. This is from the pick apart, whoever worked on it last. Anyway, guys and girls, thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn the bell on. That's another video. Hopefully some of that helped you. Catch ya.